Hello and welcome to Everyday People Tuesdays at 2. My name is Vaibhav and thank you so much for watching. My guest today is Palash Choudhury, who's a self-taught software developer, as you'll hear from him shortly. I want to apologize for some audio issues. I'm still figuring out the whole video podcast thing, so you might hear some traffic noises and some heavy breathing. Apologies. If you're watching this on YouTube, thanks for clicking the like button. Wherever you're listening, if you're in the mood to read something, you can find my latest blog post. I've been re-exploring my relationship with religion in the description. But for now, please enjoy Everyday People with Palash Choudhury. Hello and welcome to Everyday People. Today my guest is Palash Choudhury. Palash, welcome.
Hi, Vaibhav. It's nice to be here.
My first question always as a warm-up to my guest is, who are you, what do you do, and what is your current side project?
So, my name is Palash Choudhury, as you have already announced. What do I do? So, I am a software development engineer at Amazon, LD2. And my current project is basically on some of the internal tools that we use at Amazon itself. So, I'm part of the Global Finance Technologies team, and my job is to build tools for those teams.
I didn't catch what team you were part of, sorry.
Global Finance Technologies. So it's called GFT in short. So basically all the financial decisions that happen in Amazon, right? That's the task of GFT team to make as well as to enable.
And you make tools for them.
Yeah.
Very nice. Outside of work, are you doing anything that like you would designate as either as a hobby or as a side project?
Yeah, so I do work on a lot of various projects basically. For example, I have my own, if you look at my GitHub repository, you will see a lot of varied projects over there. Varying from projects on React or Vue, the usual web projects, as well as some backend projects on Flutter, Kotlin. Like one of these projects which I was working on to be able to download the mangas, right? There was no, official manga downloader apps on Play Store. So what I did was I built my own in Flutter, and that as a Flutter and Kotlin both, and both are lying in the Arctic, GitHub the Arctic archive right now.
Yeah, because I imagine it can't be legal to download manga.
No, it's fine actually. It's not illegal because I am basically scraping it from a website.
Right, from like an official website.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, go ahead.
Those projects are in part of the GitHub's. So there was this project by GitHub, right, where they put a lot of projects into their Arctic vault. These two projects, they actually went there.
Oh, very nice. So you said you're a software engineer at Amazon, part of the GMT team.
Yeah.
What's your relationship like with your work? I know we've spoken offline about it and you've said like a job is a job. I just wanted to delve a little deeper into that and understand like what your relationship is with your job.
So basically for me a job is little more than 9 to 5, but little less than my whole life. So what I basically mean by saying this is I have some responsibilities. I make some promises while working, right? Like I'll finish this in time. In this particular time frame, I'll be implementing this.
Right.
And I'm going to stick to that. I'll make sure that the deadlines are met, the usual corporate mumbo jumbo. But not just in terms of corporate, I take it as a personal responsibility, as a personal, moral thing, that what I promise, I will deliver. And it's not just in terms of job. This is something that I keep practicing in my daily life also. If I am promising something, I will do it even if I don't want to do it, if I have some issues. And if there's something that I cannot help with, I will definitely ask to postpone it. But I try to keep things, whatever I promise, I'll give it.
Right.
I'll help with that. So that's why I'm saying this is beyond 9 to 5 for me, but it is less than life for me.
Yeah, so you care about it and you care about like your word, right? Your word is your bond. Where does that come from? Like, is that a family value, or is that something that you picked up in school, or is that something that comes from inside? Like, where do you think that comes from for you?
I would say it's part of the family values as well as moral science in school.
Moral science.
Something we just like to follow.
That's something I follow myself, but like, and I'm very fortunate that the guests I get on this show are the types of people for whom their word matters, and they like however, it's not as common as one would think everywhere.
Right.
From a moral point of view, do you find yourself like judging other people who don't have their own, like, who don't follow this, or is it just for your personal code of conduct that you feel that you are doing this?
I would not say I don't judge them, but I don't judge them harshly. Like from a moral point of view, I cannot relate to other people who are not able to follow this particular code of conduct.
Mm-hmm.
But I am not like I would segregate them from my life. I would talk to them, or I'll consider them poor peasants in that sense. So for me, it's like I'm not able to what do you call it, relate to their approach on life. But okay, this is their life,
Yeah.
and this is my life. I understand the difference in boundaries.
Nice. So when you say that, I lost my I lost my train of thought. No, but that makes a lot of sense to me. Like in the sense of like you're not going to judge somebody because you're not living their life, but you understand like, okay, maybe they're not as reliable, and you sort of.
It's not about not reliable, but what their actions, I just can't relate to them. So it causes a little of discomfort for me because I cannot relate to how they're behaving right now, how they're acting right now. Some things I can understand based on the what we call it, the behavior, regular behavior. As long as it's not related to a moral principle, I can relate it fine. I mean, I can understand it. So you can think of it like my thought process over the time has become a more of a coding algorithm. There has to be a logic behind it. If I can't find the logic, I have a problem understanding that, accepting the fact.
Yeah. So you clearly are a computer science student.
But I'm not.
You're not? Okay, tell me about your schooling a little bit.
So I did my graduation and post-graduation. It was a dual degree basically in geological technology, which is basically earth science. So it was a 5-year course on earth science, and I got interested in computers from 9th class because around that time I was left alone with computers a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first few months, I think 2 or 3 months, I was gaming a lot. Then I was like, too much of gaming. Now let's create games.
Right.
I had started to have imaginations of things like this could be done better, or this would make it really cool, and I wanted to make that a reality. So that's actually how I got into programming.
So you're self-taught.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So you're self-taught, and now it's become your job that you're a software developer.
Yeah.
Why earth science? Like why geological sciences as a degree?
So there are actually 2 reasons behind it. I'll be honest with you. One of the reasons was like getting into. So this was one of the few subjects that was available in IIT, and my father and me also didn't really want to go into ISM or ITBHU or other courses. And the second, which I think is actually much more for me, is that my uncle was in a exploration director in Rio Tinto Technologies. So he used to tell me about his adventures, going out, exploring stuff, looking at. He would go out almost every month or every 2 months for some exploration task.
Right.
And Rio Tinto is basically all about diamonds, right? So he would go almost all over the world, and that was really cool. He would tell me about those adventures, what he used to see, how he used to explore. And geology actually is a very interesting subject.
Right.
If you think about it, you are looking at a stone on the ground, right? Maybe you are going for a hiking trip, you are looking at rocks. Those rocks have their own designs and everything. For us, it's just painting, but for a geologist, this is actually telling the whole history of the area.
Right.
It's like that rock is the book of the area.
Wow.
This is not an exaggeration, to be honest.
Yeah, because like they're able to tell a lot of information about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just looking at the rock. Just pick a rock and that rock will give you a lot of information starting from where it is and how it was. Even the orientation of the rock, how it was before breaking off from the main segment. All those things you can figure it out just by looking at the rock.
Where the crack lines form, what the shape of the crack is. Yeah, okay.
Exactly. This tells how the earth moved, how the history of earth changed. I mean, this is the theory, right? The whole earth was actually Pangea initially. Then it broke into two parts. Then
Gondwana land and one more. I forgot the other one, but the lower African portion was called Gondwana land, right?
Gondwana, yeah. And we actually came from that section to Eurasia.
Eurasia, there we go.
So you can actually see those things when you look at the rocks.
Amazing. Do you find yourself using your degree in these fun ways, and do you plan on ever like changing your career into something like that?
No.
No? You're firmly entrenched in development.
Yeah, I think about using my knowledge when I look at the rocks, when I go for hiking or some visits to areas, natural areas. But the thing is, to do that, I have to memorize a lot of things. I have to remember a lot of things, and I have a very poor memory.
Right.
So I can, as long as it's a concept, I can understand. But if it's something that I have to mug up, I can't.
Right.
That's been a weakness for me, and this is probably why I am sticking to computer science or IT jobs, because I don't have to mug up anything.
You can remember the basic concepts and like get around.
I can remember the flow. It's like you are going from your home to your office. You can remember the path, but you don't have to remember what buildings are there and what is the timing of the red light. All those things don't matter. You just know that this is the path. You will take a left from. You will take the second left, then third right. That's all you need to remember. No need to worry about what comes before and afterwards.
So you kind of like you remember the logic of it and then go forward. Nice. You mentioned that you played a lot of video games and then you decided to create games.
Yeah.
Tell me about your gaming hobby. What are you playing nowadays and what do you enjoy about video games?
For me, video games are a sense of a form of recreation, something for which I can actually relax.
Mm-hmm.
I can slow down a bit, stop thinking for a while, right? So generally when I'm very exhausted, I prefer to play games which have a lot of mindless action. I just keep pressing buttons and you can just progress ahead. For example, the most recent game like that I played was Final Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
I could play, I won't say this completely mindless action. You have to still keep track of where the enemies are, what's the attack pattern and everything. But that becomes more of an instinct after a while. It's not that complicated as Elden Ring or Sekiro where you are not that fast. Your attacks are not lightning fast. They are not infinite. And you have to judge at every time how you are going to perform, what action you are going to take.
Right. But you're playing Sekiro as well recently.
Yeah. So Sekiro I am just playing because I just want to find out whether it is possible for me to be able to play that game at all or not. If it's already in my Steam library, I decided to give it a try.
Yeah.
But again, I don't enjoy it too much because, as I said, right, it becomes more of a work grind for me more as compared to a relaxation form.
Yeah. I was recently thinking about restarting Elden Ring because on my PC I don't feel like playing anything anymore. But it's just like, it feels like such a commitment to jump into it.
Yeah, I can understand.
So I kind of want to do it, but later, and instead I'll like draw myself to other things like D&D or to like these interviews or something else. But I don't game as much. Do you find yourself outside of video gaming? What else do you do with your free time?
Outside of video gaming, I work on, as I said, hobby projects.
Mm-hmm.
If I find some new technology that's getting a bit of traction, I would just learn it and try to build something out of it. For example, the most recent hype was Rust. So Rust is actually
Rust. Okay.
Rust.
I've heard of it.
On iron. So Rust is actually gaining traction as an alternative to C, and a lot of open source projects, including the Linux kernel and Node.js, they are moving to Rust because of a lot of memory management that it handles, a very good compiler error warnings that it gives. So developers can make less errors as they code as compared to C++ or other languages. So I did try to learn it. I know most of it, but I haven't really done any projects on it.
But you're hoping to.
I am hoping to. I'm trying to build, but again, that's something that is a commitment thing, and you get the point.
Yeah, I'm sure with as you make time eventually, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. But for the normal audience who's listening to this, basically Rust is a more efficient language than what is being used. See, like you said, memory management, this, that, and people are like, I don't understand any of it.
I get it.
So
this is on the computers. Other than that, I play piano.
Oh, okay.
Smaller version of piano, not the bigger version. So you can call it the mini piano, the easy version of piano.
But still,
I play that. I enjoy it. I haven't been able to do it for quite some time because of a lot of other engagements and distractions. But I'm trying to pick it up again. And I sometimes do 3D modeling.
Oh, okay.
Or draw stuff as my mind inspires me. So it's like my hobbies are very varied. I just want to create something always. It doesn't matter what it is. I did try dabbling into music also, but creating music, it was too much for me.
Yeah, it's quite complicated.
Writing stuff.
Where do you think like this creator mindset, or not creator mindset, this creative spirit comes from? Like, why do you want to create?
It's like this feeling of creation, right? It actually gives a lot of positive energy. So how I feel it is like when I'm creating something, I'm creating a lot of positive energy by doing that, because as compared to destroying something. When I'm frustrated, I want to destroy a lot. But when I'm depressed, I want to create something. And unless I create something, be it art form, be it a drawing, be it a 3D model, as long as I don't create anything, I will keep feeling depressed. So it's something that brings me out of depression.
Okay.
So when I'm depressed, I have this three-pronged strategy. I listen to music, I work on a game or a side project that I'm working on. And I create some form of art or anything. For me, code is also an art sometimes.
Of course it is. Yeah, I mean, coding is an art form, as anybody can tell you. Anyone who is a coder can tell you. So now, when you mention depression, is this like a medical depression, or do you mean like the downswing?
Regular depression, feeling a bit of down, like
sadness.
Not getting anything else, not getting where I'm going with life. Something like sometimes there are a lot of things coming into mind, a lot of things happening with you, and you are not able to figure everything out.
Right.
We can't explain everything. So it's not a medical, I won't say it's a clinical depression for me yet.
Good.
Because of this three-pronged strategy, I'm always able to get out of it. Listen to music, kill some bad guys, and make some art.
So, like, why I ask, obviously, as my friend, that I have medical depression, right? So, I thought I found somebody to talk to about that, but that's it. So, you say you listen to music, you kill some bad guys, and you create some art.
Yeah.
In this, do you find yourself having a lot of screen time? Basically, a lot of time in front of the computer?
Not really. Actually, in the second half, right? When I listen to music, I'm listening usually on my phone, and I'm just lying on the bed doing nothing.
Yeah, eyes closed and just listening.
So 0 screen time. Then when I'm killing bad guys, obviously 100% screen time. As for the third phase, it depends. Sometimes there's a lot of screen time, sometimes a lot of thinking and paperwork.
Okay. Do you find that there's a joy to writing on paper, or like ideating on paper versus ideating on a laptop? So tell me a little bit about that.
I would always prefer ideating on a paper because it feels much more connected. as compared to typing on a keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, since coding is also my job, when I am on a keyboard and a computer screen, I feel that I am working. I get that feeling in the back of my head that I am starting to work.
Right.
So when I'm on paper, it's like I'm dumping my thoughts on something, and it's easier for me because of physical touch.
Yeah, I'm using one right now. Like, see, I'm making notes for this meeting.
Yeah.
So, you also draw, you said, right?
Yeah.
Anything you've drawn recently that you can tell us about?
Doodles.
Doodles?
Yeah.
Have you ever been interested in playing D&D yourself or something like that? Like tabletop games, board games, nothing?
No. I would say that I'm not really a strategist. As I said, my personal preference is a mindless model.
Yeah.
And strategy is usually a stretch for me. Even in RPGs, my usual go-to approach is get so high leveled that you
Right,
don't
you
have
just...
to worry about strategy. Just kill the boss.
I'm similar in that way. Like, I have that grind mindset of like, I love grinding in games. And I like just like over level myself and then go and just easily cheese a boss.
Yeah.
So, how old are you, by the way?
31.
31. Oh, you're my age. I'm also 31. So,
Yeah.
as a 31-year-old now, you've told me a lot of things. You're working with Amazon. You're writing your own code projects. You're playing games. What's your level of satisfaction with your life?
I am quite satisfied with my life.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, for me, it's more like I get satisfied with what I have. I'm not very passionate about things. As long as I'm able to work on things I like.
Right. You like being in the present rather than like...
Right. I don't really plan too far ahead because planning too far ahead comes with a lot of risk, and mostly all those plans fail. You have to go ahead and make impromptu changes over there. Like there was one time I remember I had my college in Roorkee.
Mm-hmm.
So from there to come home, what I would do is I took a bus from Roorkee to Delhi, and in Delhi there's a place called Kashmiri Gate. From there there's a metro which I would take till Anand Vihar or New Delhi station. So once I was coming from Roorkee to hometown, and I decided like I'll leave at this point. If I leave from here, then I will reach Delhi by this time, and then I will take the metro and I will reach station by this time, and I still have a buffer of 1 to 2 hours in between. So if something goes wrong, I can still reach on time. If this happens, I will do this. If this happens, I'll do this, and so on. I had a whole flow chart created in my mind.
Yeah.
And as it would happen, things happened beyond the flow chart. The metro broke down.
Right.
The bus broke down.
Oh my God.
So the engine of the bus, it overheated. So I had 2 to 3 hours of head start, and yet I reached almost 10 to 15 minutes before the train departure.
Oh. Right.
So that was actually the point of time when I decided that now I'll stop planning forever. I'll just live in the moment and make decisions. It's not like I don't make plans at all, but I have a rough sketch. Right? Like A to B to C to D. How to go A to B, that doesn't matter. That I'll decide where A comes.
Wonderful. Like, see, this is very foreign to me because my whole family is anxiety ridden. We plan like super ahead. We'll get to the train station an hour before. We'll get to the airport like 2.5 hours before. We're those sort of people, right? The fact that you were able to make a decision that I'm going to stop planning and then stick to it is like super admirable to me. Just because that means like you're able to fight that like anxiety of it, right? That's really awesome. I think I should learn from that.
Actually, it's not completely unrelatable to what you just said. Like I said, right, I still make A to B to C to D, the rough draft of the plan, because that is something that I cannot get rid of completely. I'm also...
And that you shouldn't get rid of it completely also.
Right. It's something of a requirement.
Yeah.
You can't always go completely impromptu. But the getting the fine things of the whole plan worked out, I stopped working on that. It's better to do as the situation supports as compared to just plan out everything and do according to plan. So that's not gonna work. That never works.
Amazing. So if I asked you to give like 3 pieces of advice to somebody in their 20s who's just starting a career, what would you say to them?
Okay, 3 pieces of advice. The first thing I would do is live the present.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about your past too much. Learn from it, but don't worry about it. And don't worry too much about the future. Don't ignore it. Live the present. Keep the past in your mind, and don't worry too much about future. That's my first advice.
Mm-hmm.
The second advice would be there's a time and place for everything.
Okay.
So a lot of times we get into some place and we feel like we don't belong there. So just keep grinding. Eventually you will find what you actually need, what you actually want. But till the time you find it, just keep grinding whatever you are grinding. Because you need something to keep you going.
Right.
Because depression is something that hits when you feel that your life has no purpose. As long as you're grinding, you have a purpose. It's to grind.
Is to grind, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And the third thing. Actually, I never thought about it.
I know.
Luckily, I never had to give advice to people.
Well, now you are, because somebody is going to be listening to this. So you've given 2 great pieces of advice. Live in the present, keep the past in mind, and don't be scared of the future. And second is keep grinding, you'll find yourself. Something will come up. Give me one more if you can.
I would say know your limits.
Know your limits.
You don't have to go beyond your limit. You don't have to go under your limit.
But Dragon Ball Z taught us, no, you have to go further beyond the limit.
So again, know your limits, right? That's it anyway. This is real life.
Yeah. Any particular reason why you say know your limits? Like any story that you can share with me?
It's not much of a story, but it's more of, so when I say know your limits, like I'm not talking about the potential of what you can do. I'm talking about the limits of reality, to be honest. For example, limits in case of work-life balance. As you said in the beginning, right? Job is a job and life is a life. So there should be a limit of how much your job is including into your life. Because I, as a employee, have worked a lot. Spent like 14 to 16 hours working daily. I don't think I even studied that hard for JEE. So from that I can say definitely that decide that what limit you want to push and how much you want to give to that. Because at the end, the job is not going to treat you more than an employee. Company is not going to treat you. You might give everything for the company, but it's not going to treat you the same. So what you need to do is what is good for you, what is satisfactory to you, and you should be able to answer to yourself.
Right.
I think this should be one of the pieces of advice that I should have given. Do something that you can answer to yourself, and this is something that I have been following all my life. And you must be already knowing this thing from one of the famous speeches by Steve Jobs. He had this statement: if today was the last day of your life, if tomorrow was the last day of life, would you still do what you are going to do?
Right.
So he had this approach in life where he every day said to himself, if tomorrow was the last day of life, would you still do today what you are going to do? And if the answer is no, too many times in a row, then you know something has to change. That actually stuck with me. So as long as I can justify myself why I am doing what I am doing,
right,
and I know that I will not regret it in the future, I am going to do it.
That's interesting because, like, you see, this point, like this quote that you've given me about Steve Jobs seems to be contradictory to what you're saying is keep grinding, right? Like it's almost like the Steve Jobs quote says, no, look at what you're doing and see, do I really want to do it? But then you're also saying, even if you don't know what you want to do, keep grinding at what you're doing. But then your first point was live in the present, right? So there's they fit together like a weird puzzle.
Yeah, so it's actually a weird puzzle, and I can totally feel that. But the thing is, you have to take this not on the literal value, but on the feeling. So you have to pick the respective aspects of each of these elements.
Yeah.
So, like for example, live in the present. That is, think about what is good for you today.
Right.
But don't ignore. Obviously, not ignore about the future. So, when I say think of the present, what I am saying is don't fret about the future, or don't regret your past. That's what I mean by think of the present.
Right.
When I say keep grinding whatever you are, unless you figure out what you want to do in life. So at that point, what I'm saying is, don't be depressed with your life. You keep doing what you are doing and try to still explore what you actually want to do.
Yeah. Like you have a capability of doing things.
Yes.
Right.
So, for example, right, I do a lot of side projects. Most people who work with me, who have worked with me in the past too, they say that they don't really get time to learn new things. They don't have time to explore side projects and everything. I was able to do that. And the main reason I was able to do that was because I stepped to this approach. Keep grinding whatever you are. You will eventually figure out what you want. So I grinded during the work hours, the work things, and I grinded what I actually want to do, where my interest lies after the work hours. And this third quote, right? Like,
do something you can answer to yourself is what you said. Yeah.
Yeah, that's on more of what decisions I'm going to make.
Right.
So let's say you figured out what you want to do. Right? For example, let's say hypothetically, I want to go completely into game development. Right? So I would ask myself this question. Let's say I go for game development, and tomorrow, I am not a very successful game developer. I'm not able to land a job in game development, or I get fired eventually because game development field is very hit and miss.
Yeah, notoriously very difficult to maintain a career in it.
Right. So let's say tomorrow if something like that happens, will I be able to answer myself that if you didn't do this, we would have a lot better life? So this is actually what I mean with the approach that do something that you can answer yourself in the future.
Right.
For example, one of the reasons why I actually tried I am a dropper in JEE course. I took a drop and gave it second time and I got qualified. So at that time, one of the things that came to my mind was, if tomorrow I am standing in front of an IITian, will I regret that I didn't try it once more? Right. I should not regret that if I had tried, I would have come close.
Right.
I would have felt similar to him or her.
Okay.
So that's actually what I mean with this point.
Understood.
You should be able to answer yourself in future.
I think you've very clearly elaborated what you wanted to say, and I've understood what you wanted to say. There's a line of practicality that runs through your entire logic. From what I understand, from what I'm getting to know about you, you're a very pragmatic person. You're a very practical person. So I'm not going to ask you to project out into the future, but I will ask, what is a project coming up very shortly for you that you're really looking forward to?
Actually, nothing.
Nothing? Amazing.
No.
You're going to pick something when the time comes.
Yeah. When I figure out what I'm really looking for, for example, this GitHub game jam, right? I would say that that's something I'm looking forward to be able to create and submit an entry in that game jam. I think it starts in November. So I'm looking forward to be able to make a submission to that. So that could be one of the projects that I'm really looking for right now. But nothing is set in stone, right? Let's say by November I figured out that something else is even more interesting.
Right.
I might switch to that.
In November for writers, for me and my people, is NaNoWriMo. It's National Novel Writing Month. which is it's a very bad writing challenge where people aim to write 50,000 words in 30 days, which means they're writing 1,667 words a day. The failure rate is like 90% or something. I never attempt it.
You could try that this time actually. You are on a fire recently.
Well, I'm writing a new story now. Mischievous is out, and the next story is Karsika and the Sky Islands, aiming for that to be 10,000 words or something. Let's see how it goes. But this has been a wonderful conversation with you. As the last question, promote something to the audience. Now, it can be either something like, this is where people plug their business or plug their Instagram or whatever. But in case you have nothing to sell, you can simply promote either a movie or a book that you read or music that you like or a quotation that you live by, like you shared a Steve Jobs quote with us. Give something to the audience to take away from this conversation.
Have you seen the movie Kung Fu Panda?
Yes.
There's this line from that movie which I think that everyone should know about.
Yesterday.
It's you.
Oh, okay. There is no secret ingredient. I thought you were going to give me the other one, which was yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery.
That's a very old one. Everyone knows that.
Everyone knows that one.
And that really doesn't matter. But this one is something that really touched my heart.
There is no secret ingredient.
But you.
I think that's a fantastic quote to end on. This has been an absolute pleasure and privilege. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. We've been talking for 36 minutes. Does it feel like 36 minutes?
No, I thought that we just started.
Yeah, it always happens. That's all. I'm going to continue talking to my friend after we stop recording. For now, thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye. Palash, say bye to the audience.